session. I'm Chrissy. I'm going to take you through a session that's about 45 minutes long. We'll warm up the body. We're going to do some quite tough moves today. Not that I have complete faith in each and every one of you, but I'm going to basically give you options to upscale things and downscale things. So just please do what feels good for you today. Don't worry about what you think you're meant to be doing or what you should look like. Yoga's not about that. So please just have fun, enjoy. You're going to need a mat. If you don't have a mat, you can just use a towel, something that's just going to stop your hands from slipping on the floor. You might also want something like this, or a few things that look like this. So this is a yoga block, but if you don't have a yoga block, you can use a big hardback book. That is really good. So recipe book, encyclopedia, something like that. You might also want a cushion. Cushions are really good to just lift the hips a little bit, or you can put them underneath your knees. You can use a rolled up blanket for that as well. So nice rolled up blanket underneath the knees can just alleviate, when you get a bit of pain when you sit on the knees. Apart from that, make sure that you listen to your body throughout. Also, obviously, if you feel unwell, please stop. It's only Tuesday, we don't want to ruin the rest of the week. So just stop, get some medical attention if you need any. Distractions, make sure you've cleared the room of any distractions, cleared your partners, pets, children out of the way. And if you're all set up, you're all ready to go, maybe you've got a nice candle on, maybe you've turned off the lights, anything that you kind of want to get set up, we're going to get started. So we're going to get started today in a position called Supta Baddha Konasana. And yes, I am wearing Christmas socks. Yeah, I am wearing Christmas socks, just thought I'd let you know that. So Supta Baddha Konasana, you're going to put the soles of the feet together and let the knees fall out to the side. And then very carefully you're going to begin to lie back on the floor into a supine position. So make sure the shoulders are kind of far enough away from the ears. You can have the hands out to the side, or you can have one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. And you can close down the eyes here, or maybe just soften the gaze if that feels nice. Just taking a few inhales and exhales. Begin to come into the present moment. Settling the body down onto the mats, onto the earth. Once you've taken those breaths, perhaps begin to notice how the body expands and contracts on the inhales and exhales. So notice how the belly rises, chest rises as you inhale, fill the body. And then notice how everything melts down further into the earth as you let go, as you exhale. Perhaps now begin to become aware of any areas of tightness in the body. You don't have to do anything, you're just observing what the body might need today. We're always trying to approach the body using the idea of ahimsa. So ahimsa means non-violence, so that is definitely applied to ourselves as well, not just the people around us. So looking at our practice as a non-violent event, so making sure that we're not pushing ourselves too hard, make sure that we're respecting our boundaries, respecting what our body needs today. When you're ready, you're going to place your hands to the outside of your knees, draw your knees into the chest, just give yourself a little hug here, maybe rock side to side, maybe around in a few circles, and the other way. And when you're ready, place your hands on top of your knees, and we're just going to take some circles out and around with the hips. Just continuing to breathe with these motions. You can take them as big or as small as you like. And then let's go the other side, so take them out, other way now. Moving into that synovial fluid and the hip joints, a bit in in the knees as well. You can even start to take the knees out a little bit if that feels nice for you. Beautiful. Okay, so easy supine twist. Arms come to cactus or they come straight out at the side if you have room. Shifting your hips to the left, letting your knees fall over to the right. Maybe taking the gaze away from you. Big breaths here, in through the nose and out through the nose. And keep the eyes closed here if that feels good. Then when you're ready, shifting over to the other side. So hip shift to the right, knees fall to the left, gaze falls over to the right, if you like. Maybe noticing here how different it is when you breathe. Maybe you feel like, I certainly feel like across kind of the front of my chest, my shoulder and side of my body, it's a bit more tricky to breathe here, so I need to bring in a bit more breath. Beautiful. When you're ready, coming back to center, bring your hands now to behind your knees. We're just going to rock and roll up the spine just a few times. You can make this nice and fun. Whee! And then come all the way up to the top. Cross your ankles, cross your feet at the ankles. Plant your hands on the floor and step back to your tabletop position. So spreading the fingers, shoulders over the wrists and hips over the knees. Inhale, lift the body, extend the chest, lift the head, and then exhale, rounding down into the body, curving the spine. So let's move through our cat-cows a few more times at our own pace. No rush needed. Make sure you're going to the full edge of the movement, so you're inhaling, lifting all the way up, taking that full breath in, and then exhale, rounding down. Sorry, my dog is barking. And move through that a few more times at your own pace. You can bring any wiggles into the body that you like. Maybe circling around the wrists, anything that feels good for you today. And then when you're ready, we're going to press the hands into the floor, spreading the fingers once more, tuck the toes, pressing back, downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet here if that feels good for you. So bending one foot, straightening the other foot. Bending one knee, straightening the other knee. Don't want you to bend the foot. Lovely. And then when you're ready, taking a few steps forward towards the top of the mat, finishing with your feet hip width distance apart. And then for the purposes of today, we're going to come into our ragdoll, but instead of interlacing the hands at the elbows, we're going to bring the hands, interlace them behind the top of the head, and use the weight of the hands to really pull the head down. So you can have a nice soft bend in your knees here, and your chest is aiming to be close to your knees, so don't worry about having straight legs and bringing the body all the way up. Not what we're doing here, we'll do that later on. Interlace the hands behind the head and really use the hands to drop the head down. Normally, we sort of do ragdoll and our heads are a little bit around here. And this is building all that neck tension, that shoulder tension. We don't want any of that. Just drop everything down. Everything's letting go. You can maybe sway side to side. And then when you're ready, release the hands. Begin to roll up. Head is the last thing to come up. Maybe a big shoulder roll up and down the back. Oh, let's take one more. That felt really nice. Beautiful. You can bring the feet into touch, the toes to touch, heels slightly apart. If you do want to take the feet hip width distance apart, that's absolutely fine. You can do that throughout the practice, but make sure you're doing it on purpose and it's not just that your feet have sort of flopped and landed there. So there's a real difference. We're trying to have mindful movement during this practice, so that we're really focusing on the breath, the movement, and that's how we begin to get that focus in the mind. So think about your decisions that you make during the class. So squeeze everything in, everything engaged, pull the belly in, pull the bum in, roll the shoulders up and down, bring the hands to heart center. And maybe close down the eyes once more here, setting an intention for your practice this evening. As always, you are free to have whatever tension you like. Perhaps you can focus on ahimsa, one of the yamas in yogic philosophy, focusing on non-violence towards yourself this evening, being kind to yourself, which I think we all need to do at the moment. When you're ready, take a deep inhale through the nose. Exhale, let it go through the mouth. Beautiful. Open the eyes when you're ready. Inhale, lift the arms up to the sky, gaze up at thumbs. Exhale, hinging from the hips, folding forward, bend the knees as much as you need to. Plant the hands down on the floor, tuck that chin to the chest once more. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands can come to shins, or they can stay on the floor. Fingertips can stay on the floor if you can reach. And we're lengthening here. Now this is where we're lengthening the hamstrings. We're pushing the heart forward. It's nice and open. And then when you're ready, exhale, we're stepping that right foot back, dropping the right knee to the floor. Bring the hands in line with that front foot. Inhale, lift into the fingertips. Lift the head, lift the chest. Inhale, exhale. One more, inhale. And then on your next exhale, drape the body, drape the head over that front leg. Maybe feeling a slightly different stretch, maybe feeling it more in the thigh. Deep, nourishing breaths in here. And when you're ready, stepping back to plank. Hold for a moment in your plank, inhale. Exhale, lower the knees, chest and chin. Inhale, scoop forward, Bhujangasana, baby cobra. Push the tops of the feet into the floor. Roll the shoulders back, clip the elbows towards the body. Engage the legs. Tuck the toes, push back to your downward facing dog. If downward facing dog isn't calling you today, you can always just come to your tabletop or a seated meditation as we hold that downward facing dog for a few more breaths. If you need to keep the knees bent in your downward facing dog, that's absolutely fine. It's all about lengthening the spine, so if you need to be a bit more here so that you get that length, that's not a problem. It's definitely preferable to sort of having straight legs and your spine sort of being round here. When you're ready, we're going to bring that right foot forward, drop the left knee down to the floor. Same thing again. Inhale, push the fingertips into the mat, lift the spine, lift the chest. On your next exhale, drape the body, drape the head over that front leg. One more breath. Now, big step all the way to the top of the mat. Feet to meet each other. Beautiful. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, rise all the way up to standing. Bring the arms overhead, gaze up at thumbs. Exhale, folding right the way back down, all the way back down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, this time plant the hands, step the left foot as far back as it will go, drop the left knee down to the floor, bring the fingertips in line with that front foot, inhale, lengthen the spine, lift the chest. Exhale, drape the body, drape the head. Beautiful, tuck the back toes, step back to plank. Inhale in your plank, lower the knees on your exhale, knees, chest and chin. Ashtanga Namaskara, bum is still in the air. Inhale, push forward using the strength of your arms, clip the elbows in, Bhujangasana, baby cobra. You're really engaging these legs, they're so engaged that my knees are off the floor, so really see if you can get your knees off the floor. That's a little challenge for you today. Exhale, tuck the toes, push back, downward facing dog. Or of course you have your tabletop or your seated meditation, all of those are lovely options for the class. One more breath in your downward facing dog. And then when you're ready, stepping that left foot forward, dropping the right knee down to the mat. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, drape and fold. Beautiful. Now big step to the top of the mat, feet to meet at the top. Inhale, halfway lift, roll the shoulders away from the ears. Gaze is slightly forward, so kind of looking at a line of your skirting boards maybe. Exhale to fold. Inhale, rise all the way up to standing, root to rise, press the feet into the floor, gazing up at thumbs, maybe a little body stretch here. Exhale, folding down, bend the knees if you need to, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Plant the hands, step back to plank this time. Your choice, your vinyasa. You either keep going with your knees, chest, chin, or you begin to roll the shoulders forward, bending at the elbows, untucking the toes, lifting to your upward facing dog. When you're ready, pressing back, maybe rolling over the feet, coming to downward facing dog. Now, if you just want to take a moment here to have a little check of how I'm doing my upward facing dog. So what people tend to do is they tend to do cobra. So we've got baby cobra, we tend to do kind of this, which is cobra. And I wouldn't normally do that unless it was in a yin class and it was supported by a bolster, because it's so much weight into the back, and because we do it so quick, it's just dumping loads of weight into your lower back here. So if you have any lower back problems, please don't do this, please don't do it anyway. What you want to do is press into the floor with your hands, press into the floor with your feet, and then you're lifting up so that your knees, your legs, everything's off the floor apart from the tops of your feet and the palms of your hands. So have a little go here, really press down, press, press, press. If you find that you can't do an upward facing dog at the moment without letting your knees go on the floor, please do your baby cobra instead. So please do the first option, much better for your back. You know, the whole point of yoga is to help the spine, help lengthen it, strengthen it, you know, make it really malleable, and it can turn in different ways. You know, if you're just dumping loads of weight in there, it's just not going to be a good idea. So let's go back to downward facing dog. When you're ready, bend the knees, come high onto the tippy toes, look forward, either step or lightly float to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the spine. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise all the way up to standing, squeeze the bum, push the feet into the floor, bring the hands to heart center this time. Take a few breaths here, notice the heat that you've built in the body during that time. And then when you're ready, squeezing everything in, we're going to inhale, sit low into our chair, Utkatasana. Bring the arms out in front. Now if you've had a really long day and you're just feeling like, oh my god, Chrissy, I can't do a big chair here, you can pretend you're sat more on a bar stool than a chair. But if you can, you're really trying to sit nice and low. Check out your toes, make sure you can see them. If you can't, your weight's probably a bit too far forwards. And then when you're ready, exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the spine. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, flow through your vinyasa or skip it. So your vinyasa is your knees, chest, chin or chaturanga, your baby cobra or your upward facing dog, and then finally pushing back to your downward facing dog. Inhale, take the right foot up to the sky behind you, keep it squared, keep the foot facing down, and then when you're ready, bring the knee into the chest, step it lightly through in between the hands. If it doesn't reach, use the hand to bring it up. Keep everything nice and active here. Imagine you've got a really precious present that you want to give to someone you really care about, and you're lifting it up really slowly, really carefully, because it's very fragile. There we go, and that's how carefully you need to move in yoga, well, the whole of yoga. So energy through the hands, through the arms. When you're ready, exhale, place that present all the way down as carefully as possible. Step back to plank, flow through your vinyasa, so either your knees, chest, chin or chaturanga, your upward facing dog or your baby cobra, and everyone push back to downward facing dog. Same thing on the other side. Inhale, lift that left leg behind you, keep the hips square. Exhale, bring the knee into the chest, step it in between the hands, keep nice and lifted. Precious gift in between your hands, or if you prefer, Simba from the Lion King, lifting him all the way up, showing him to Pride Rock, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, plant him down very, very carefully. Step back to plank, flow through your vinyasa. We all meet back in downward facing dog when we're ready. Take a few moments here, a few breaths. When you're ready, bend the knees, look forward, step or lightly float to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, empty down and fold. Inhale, sit nice and low into your chair pose, Utkatasana. And then exhale, we're going to fold forward again, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to plank, flow through your vinyasa or skip it. You can go in your own time, you don't have to go at my speed. This is just a guide if you want to go faster or slower. Slow is always best. Push back to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift that right leg into the sky, keep it square. Exhale, bring it in between the chest. Plant it down lightly, lifting up really nice and gentle. Into your high lunge, square off the hips, pull the right hip back, left hip forward. Exhale, plant the hands down, step back, flow through your vinyasa or skip it and come back to downward facing dog when you're ready. Think about those hips lifting into the sky. Inhale, take the left leg into the sky, squaring the hips. Exhale, bring it in between the chest, step it down lightly, bring it up nice and carefully. Pull that left hip back, right hip forward. Exhale, plant the hands down nice and gentle. Step back, flow through your vinyasa or skip it. You can even just hold plank for a few moments if you feel like that would be beneficial to you. And then push back to downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. And then when you're ready, bend the knees, look forward, step or lightly hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, empty down and fold. Inhale, sit low, come into your chair, Utkatasana. And then exhale, bring the hands to heart center. Take a few breaths, take a moment there. Maybe taking some clearing breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Great job, guys. Okay, when we're ready, we're sitting back into that chair, nice and low if you can. We're coming into a twist. So we're going to bring the hands to heart center, staying in our chair. We're going to twist round towards the right side of the body. Now you can stay here if you like. If you want to go further, keep those knees squeezed in together. Hook the left elbow over the right knee, create some traction there. And then begin to bring your hands into the center of your chest. Gaze up at the ceiling. Now really think about when you're in this position, you don't want to be sort of with your bum up higher than your chest. So you really want to sink back, lifting the chest, and you're really trying to bring those hands into center all the time, twisting from the navel here. When you're ready, come back to chair in the center. Same thing on the other side. Bring the hands to heart center, roll towards the left hand side, hook the right elbow over the left knee, begin to twist to that side. If you can't hook the leg, you can just come into a twist here. Same thing, you're just not hooking the leg. See if you can sit a little bit deeper, just 1 centimeter deeper. Really nice. Coming back into center, into your central chair. Legs should be on fire. And then exhale, folding forward, Uttanasana, forward fold. Beautiful job, everyone. Okay, we're going to separate the feet to hip width distance apart. And you've got a couple of options here. So we're going to come to Padagundasana. It's a big toe pose. So you're going to bring your 2-piece fingers and your thumb around those big toes. You want a nice soft bend in the knees. I would really recommend that. If you're just you're here and you're still not reaching the toes, that's fine. What you can do instead is you can grab hold of the back of somewhere on your legs, not the knees, but either below or above the knees, and you can begin to use a bit of traction there to pull your body towards the legs. If you've got those big toes and the thumbs, you're inhaling to lengthen, exhale to fold forwards. Nice deep forward fold here. Use that traction, push into the floor with the big toes and pull up with the fingers. And this is really about the spine cascading over the body. So it's not about straightening the legs, that's not the aim. We're really thinking about lengthening and letting go with that spine. Okay, so here comes our tricky little bits. So you're going to keep hold of the right big toe. You're going to bring the left hand onto the left hip. If you're not grabbing hold of the big toe, you can just use your knee here to bring your leg up. So we're going to lift up really slowly all the way to standing in this position. Leg does not have to be straight. You may wobble. I wobble consistently in this pose. It's about the only thing consistent about this pose is that I'm going to wobble. And then you're going to bring your leg here, maybe straightening it out, maybe keeping it bent, maybe you just grab hold of the shin. That is absolutely fine. So then you've got an option. You can begin to take that knee out towards the side. If you have the big toe, you can begin to swing that leg out towards the side, maybe gazing over away from the leg. Here is great, here is wonderful. And if you wobble, it doesn't matter. The whole point of balancing poses are not to make us still. You know, we're always moving, even when we're balanced, we're still moving a little bit, you know. So it's actually about, if we fall out of this pose, what do? How do we react to it? Do we stomp around? Do we have a strop? Do we go, oh, just didn't do it, I'm so rubbish? Or do we just go, okay, just got to get back into it, just got to carry on? And these are the kind of poses that we take off the mat into our lives. They're really important where we observe our reactions here. Anyway, sorry, I'll shut up. Let's bring the knee back or the big toe back. And then very gently, as if nothing ever happened, you're going to bring that leg down to the floor. And we're going to go straight to the other side. So if you've got the toe, bring the right hand to the right hip. Keep hold of the toe. If not, you can just hold on to the shin. Very carefully, we're going to lift up nice and slowly, no rush at all. See if you can roll that shoulder down a little bit. Remember, here is fine. Here is lovely. Push into the floor with that supporting leg. And then if you want, taking that leg out to the side, maybe gazing away from the leg. Breathing here, nice deep breaths. When you're ready, now let's go one more breath because I spoke loads on the other side. I don't want you to be uneven. One more breath now. Bring the leg back to center and then very slowly, as if nothing ever happened, replant that foot. Beautiful work, everyone. Okay, so inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, flow through your vinyasa. And then we all meet back in downward facing dog. Beautiful. Everyone drop the knees. Child's pose. So you can either have the hands out long here, or you can bring the hands down by the side of the feet. If child's pose doesn't work for you, seated meditation might be better. Close down the eyes wherever you are. Take 3 deep clearing breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. 2 more, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Last time, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Let everything go. Let all those balances that we just did, if you wobbled around, just let it go. It doesn't matter, it's happened now. Okay, and when you're ready, coming back to downward facing dog. We're going to inhale, lift that right leg into the sky. We can open out the hip now if that feels good. And then bring the knee into the chest. Step it lightly down, coming back to that high lunge we were in at the beginning. Squaring off the hips once more, so pulling that right hip back, left hip forward. Really engaged on that back foot, nice and active. Now we're going to bring the left hand down, coming into a twist. So left hand begins to touch the floor, twisting at the navel, reaching that right hand into the sky, into that lovely twist. Big breaths here. Beautiful, one more breath. Now listen carefully. You've got the option, you can stay here, or you're going to begin to roll, twist towards the right, roll onto the outer edges of the feet, come into your Shiva's twist. Bring the hand down, looking behind you. And then you've got the option, you can stay here, or you can take that foot back, come into your side plank. So you've got options there, stay in your Shiva's twist, or your side plank. We've got 2 more breaths wherever you are. Beautiful. Plant the hands back down. Step back to plank if you're not already there. Flow through your vinyasa or skip it. And we all meet back in downward facing dog. Beautiful. Inhale, lift your left leg into the sky, opening out the hips if you want. Exhale, bring that knee to the nose, step it down lightly. Inhale, lifting up into your high crescent lunge. So think about energy through the fingertips here. So you're really thinking about lifting the arms up, but also you're not lifting the shoulders. Shoulders are down, but energy through the arms. So much to think about. And then when you're ready, bring that right hand down, keep the left hand lifted, come into that beautiful twist. Now stabilise the arm here, stabilise the hand, so really push into the floor so that you've got some strength here. Don't just collapse into it, you're really engaged through the arm, through the shoulder. And then option, you can stay here, you can roll towards the left, outer edges of the feet, come into your Shiva's twist. Or if you want to go a bit further, walk that foot back, come into your high plank. Options there for you. We're going to be here for 2 more breaths. Very nice. When you're ready, stepping back to plank. And either flow through your vinyasa or skip it. And we're going to meet back in downward facing dog when you are ready. Beautiful work, guys. Okay, inhale, lift that right leg to the sky again. Exhale, bring the knee to the nose. And then set that right knee behind the right wrist. Set the left leg as far back as it will go. Moving into our pigeon pose. So either staying this way, maybe propping the right hip. And you can begin to walk forwards if that feels good. If that feels ridiculous, you don't want to be there. Swing onto your backs, cross your right ankle over your left knee and begin to pull that left knee towards you. So you're still getting a nice glute stretch, but you're just taking gravity out of it. You're in control of how much push and pull you have on there. Whereas obviously when you're in a pose like pigeon rather than figure 4, your gravity, the weight of your body is just going down onto your hips, so it can feel very intense. So don't, make sure you don't just stay here if it's painful because you think, well, I should be able to do it. It's absolutely fine. Sometimes I prefer figure 4. I know very advanced students who prefer figure 4. It's just sometimes we want something a bit different. We need something a bit different. You can always stay up as well. You don't have to go down. We're going to be here for about 4 more breaths. So make sure you're somewhere you can sustain for another 4 breaths. hands back towards the body, lifting the body up. If you're in figure 4, begin to flip over onto the other side, sitting up like this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring that back foot in a little bit, step the sole of the foot, so the right foot forwards on the mat, and then we're going to come into our half split. So we're going to begin to walk the hands back, straighten out the front leg, flex the front foot, and this is where some books or blocks might be handy. So I quite like to be here, and then I've got my hands here and I feel really nice and supported. But of course you can be on the floor, you can also be up here, you can also hold on to a wall, loads of different options here. If you are going forwards, trying to get a little bit deeper, inhale to lengthen, and then folding forward, you're not actually rounding into the spine. So if you can notice a difference, you can have a play with this. If I round into my spine and then I lengthen, I actually feel a deeper stretch when I lengthen. So this is the pose that we want to be in. We want to be in that lovely lengthened position. So don't worry about having to touch the head to the knee. You know, that's not what we're about here. Let's just take 3 more breaths here, wherever you are. Focusing on ahimsa, non-violence. We're not trying to push somewhere we don't need to be. Trying to accept ourselves, love ourselves how we are now. Beautiful. Okay, so replant the sole of the foot on the floor. Maybe move the props to the side. Tuck the back toes, push back. Come up to 3-legged dog this time. Just take a moment here. And then set that leg back down. Same thing on the other side. Now inhale, reach the left leg up to the sky. Exhale, bring it forward, left knee behind left wrist, come into pigeon. Or if you want to come to figure 4 on this side, you know what to do now. Rolling onto your backs, crossing the ankle over the opposite knee, pulling the leg towards the body. You can either stay here if you're in pigeon, kapotasana, or you can begin to walk forwards, maybe making a pillow for the head, maybe using a prop to lift up your hip. You can even, sometimes I really like having a few cushions here, and I can just sort of cuddle into the cushions a little bit. Stay on your forearms, just loads and loads of options to really honour what your body needs, not what you think you should be doing. Come back to your breath here. Notice your inhales and exhales. Beautiful work, everyone. Okay, when you're ready, if you're in figure 4, flip over. If you're in kapotasana, walk the hands back. Bring that back foot in a little bit. Step the left sole of the foot onto the floor. Maybe using your props again, walking the hands back, straightening out that front leg, flexing that front toe. Maybe inhaling and lengthening and folding forwards, letting go, keeping that chest nice and open, nice and expansive, coming forwards. If you want to feel a deeper stretch as well, you can place your palm of your hand over the sole of your foot and just very gently pull that foot further towards you. Oh my goodness, such a deep stretch. Let's just take 3 more deep breaths here, deep nourishing breaths, filling the body with prana, new energy, new life force, new oxygen. Letting go on the exhales, flushing out that tension in the hamstring. Beautiful job, everyone. Okay, replant the sole of that foot. Maybe move your props to the side, tuck the back toes, lift up to your 3-legged dog. And then exhale, come to downward facing dog. Beautiful. Okay, bending the knees, look forward. You can step or jump to seated. Bring your legs out in front of you. Very slowly, we're coming down to the mat now. We're going to come down for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 2, and 1. Very nice. Lying back on the ground, bring the knees into the chest. And then we're going to either stay here, you can rock from side to side or circle, or you're going to come into happy babies. Happy baby, you're bringing the feet up to the ceiling, keeping the knees bent, then opening the knees to the side, either bringing the hands behind the thighs, calves. You can use the outer edges of the feet, you can grab hold of the big toes, whatever you want to be, and then you can just rock side to side as if you are literally a happy little baby. It's a nice one for easing out the back. Beautiful, really, really nice. And then when you're ready, bring the knees into the chest. Give yourself a really big hug. Squeeze the forehead to the knees. And then when you're ready, exhaling everything out, coming into Shavasana, final resting pose. Knees fall out to the side, palms face up for receiving. Pushing the shoulders down the mat so that they're nice and far away from the ears and that you can really feel like your body's melting into the mat. If you want to put on any socks, if you want to turn down the lights, whatever you want to do, do it now. We're going to take 3 clearing breaths where we are. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Let it all go. Inhale. Final one, inhale. Staying here for a few moments. There's nothing to do and there's nothing to manage. Just enjoy these few moments of stillness and silence. I'm going to bring you out of it. You don't need to worry. I'm not going to leave you there forever. So just really try and enjoy this rest that you've given yourself. If you have a little bit longer and you'd like to stay in your Shavasana for a little bit longer, then I highly encourage you to do so. However, if you'd like to finish the class with me, start taking a deep inhale and exhale and begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Maybe stretch the arms overhead, take a big body stretch. And then begin to roll over to your right side, your fetal position, maybe using the right arm as a pillow for the head. And then when you're ready, no rush, begin to come up to an easy seated position, hands on the knees. Nice tall spine. When you're ready, bring your hands to heart center, symbolically bow your head down towards your heart. Thanking yourself for the time you've taken today, for doing something that's not only positive for your well-being, but also your physical, mental, energetic, spiritual well-being, all of the well-beings. For doing something that's not only beneficial to you, but also for the people you interact with on a day-to-day basis. Thank you for allowing me to teach you today. Thank you, yogis. Hope to see you again soon.